So next on the chopping block here, we do have some more Bethesda news. Actually, the next two articles are going to be Bethesda focused. But the Indiana Jones game may finally have a name. So Twitter sleuth Caracassus believes they've figured out the name of Bethesda's upcoming Indiana Jones video game. And well, it's right up there with howlers like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny, according to a bunch of URLs recently registered by the right holder Lucasfilm. The name looks likely to be Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Perhaps the URL for the lovely triangle was already taken. As yet, absolutely nothing is known about the Great Circle beyond this accidentally discovered detail. Not even a genre is out there. We know from another leak that this game was originally meant to have been released in 2022, and from FTC court documents that it's going to be an Xbox exclusive. But beyond that, crickets. Been known that Swedish developer Machine Games has been working on an Indiana Jones license for at least 3 years. It's the team behind the last decade's trilogy of Wolfenstein first-person shooter hits like The New Order, The New Colossus, and Youngblood, so an FPS seems likely. Owners ZeniMax have kept customarily quiet about what it might entail. Of course, that entire spiderweb of companies is now owned by Microsoft. We'll learn more with January 18th's Xbox Showcase, where the game is to be finally properly revealed. Of course, Microsoft and Bethesda were presumably hoping to wait until then before anyone found out what it was called. Oh God, what if the entire plan had been a name reveal and no actual footage? Caracas's poking around Lucasfilm's paperwork has revealed not only addresses like Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game.com and Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.com, but also a 2-year-old European trademark registered for the Great Circle. Very disappointing to learn. It's very disappointing to learn this is for the game and not George launching a new cult. What the hell is it with Indiana Jones and just the worst titles? This is a series that is used to have wonderful names like Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Temple of Doom. Now we've got the Decent Hexagon or whatever it is, because I've already forgotten. However, there remains good reason to hope this will be a fun game. Given the talent of the team making it, we should hopefully know a lot more very soon. So, I'm going to throw this over. Yeah, well, exactly, right? I'm going to throw this over to Garbo first. Garbo, Indiana Jones game, right? They don't know how it's going to play, what it's going to be like. To you, what would be like the Indiana Jones game? Like, how would it play? What would the perspective be? Would it be first person? Would it be third person? Would it be action adventure with a lot of like puzzles and scenarios? Like, what do you envision as Indiana Jones game?
I mean, Indiana Jones is kind of almost like Uncharted, and Uncharted is just like Indiana Jones. So that'll be like kind of the that's kind of what I would expect. A third person adventure where you're being able to use the whip to do like random things. Like maybe swing across to another area or something like that, or use it to attack somebody and pull their gun out of their hand. Like I'm sure that like you could do things. Maybe like have some bike chase. Like just have them like just do crazy things, like just like in an adventure game or like an RPG game, and then maybe you can upgrade his equipment or something like, or he can find rare artifacts, kind of like Lara Croft did a little bit too. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's already a thing, isn't there? Not like some Indiana Jones already, like Indiana Jones games.
Yeah. They've released games for years and years.
Okay, so I mean, just a modified and up to date version of like that. Like, I mean, again, Uncharted was a very successful series, and that's like exactly what that is replicated from is Lara Croft, Indiana Jones, and stuff like that, and like fantastic games. So like, if they just do a different adventure, have an OG Indiana Jones, maybe have Harrison Ford's face on it. I don't know. It's up to maybe they can get him to do it.
It's dumb if they don't model his face.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, why would you not model this?
I guarantee he's been in other video games, so they probably got the model already.
Last game was 2009, and it was his face.
Yeah.
Yep.
PlayStation 2.
So
then they did a Lego Indiana Jones. That sold well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Got 2 out of it.
Yeah. So, Corey, do you share the same sentiments as Garbo about how the game would be played, or do you think that they'll kind of break the mold and go in a completely different direction?
I could see them trying to break the mold and going, but it's a dangerous thing to do.
Yeah.
To take something like Indiana Jones and be like, we're going to revolutionize gameplay.
Well, what would you turn it into?
That's the thing.
Smash brawlers or a fucking racing
I think it's going to be
What
something.
would we turn this into?
I think it's more or less going to be an Uncharted game.
Yeah,
Right.
see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it has to be, right?
It has
That's
to be.
what it should be.
But the thing is, there's not that much gunplay in the Indiana Jones. I mean, there is plenty of gunplay, but not enough to where you could justify it being a constant through the game.
Right.
Right. It's more puzzle.
That would be an issue.
Yeah, and
Tomb
getting
Raider.
through obstacles. Right. It's more Tomb Raider.
Well, do you think it would be a good idea for the developers to kind of take a look at how the Batman Arkham series kind of approached everything and make it to where, in the Arkham games, you had different scenarios, room by room.
That would be fun.
Yeah. And you walk into a room or a scenario where you have guys there and you can choose how you want to engage, but more so you're playing an average Joe non superhero type of person that will definitely die and get overwhelmed, Like they could make it more of a stealth, lean more into a stealth type game.
Splinter Cell, the Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, I mean, they could do something like that where, Indy, there's different environmental things that Indy can trigger that can kind of manipulate things to take some of the enemies out and,
Some interaction.
Yeah.
He can knock down a wall or something on the other side of a wall or something.
Yeah. Knock a statue over on somebody. We all saw that from the movies.
Push a statue on top of it. Yeah, he did it. Call him off somebody.
I think that he fist fights people more than he actually shoots at somebody, right? In the movies.
He has to have a fight scene where he's fighting around a plane. Quite
a bit of shooting in that new one.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of There's a lot of people that died in that new one. Yeah. It's like Jesus Christ. So Dirt, do you hope that the developers take this on a more linear path where you're moving from point A to point B playing as Indiana Jones, or do you hope they open up? Maybe you're in a specific part of the world, maybe you're on an island or something, and you can just kind of Indiana Jones about at your own leisure.
Yeah, or you could even hop around, like, in the movie when they're like, let's go back to when he was in the war.
Yeah.
Well, then you go back, you're playing in that. Let's get a little more of that.
Okay.
From that old source material. What happened?
Yeah.
Hopping around.
And that
it'd be cool if I had some online shit too. I don't know how they would go about that, but I play short round,
That's an idea for a game. Hear me out real quick. This is a little sidetrack, but like, why isn't there a game? And I know that the Robin Hood game kind of tried to do this, but in a different kind of way. But why isn't there a game where you have a 4v4 or a 5v5, 2 teams? There's an artifact. There's something that the teams, and each character that you pick has different abilities and they have different things that they excel at. And they're trying to get in there, get the artifact before the other team gets in there and gets the artifact.
Or the bad guy that hired them all to buy it, or,
Yeah, exactly.
That would be fun.
I mean, I would definitely play something like that. You know what I mean? So, but, I'm going to throw this out as the final touch up with this here. What era do you hope the game takes place in? And I'm going to split it in half. Do you hope it's all the previous Indiana Jones minus Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny? Or do you hope that they kind of like
prequel?
Yeah. Do you hope that they kind of like have it in the past or the more quote unquote modern version of Indy? What do you think, Garbo?
I don't know. What if they just did a version where they make him go through all like his timeline, like they do like a little timeline thing? And
That
he's
would be
having like
Like the Dial of
prequel.
Destiny's involved.
Yeah, I don't really. Yeah, like the Dial of Destiny could be involved. Like maybe like they
Well,
could
he's
just
time
do like
jumping.
how they do a timeline, right? Or you can just have it where you just go through like he kind of like writing in his journal or something. Like his journal entry or like different adventures than what we've seen in the. But like they're still around the same time.
that.
That makes sense. And then like they can time jump a little bit to like another part, and then it can be like a different, a different entry of a different time that's still like maybe around the time that he just got done doing Temple of Doom or something. You know,
It could be.
instead of it just being like about the movies and stuff, but they can make references like while he's in those timelines and stuff like that. Like do small little things, little Easter egg things. Bring up short round, or like maybe can explain what happens to short round, or
Yeah.
like this small little things.
Yeah.
And then they can get to the Dial of Destiny.
Yeah. What do you think, Corey?
I want to shoot a bunch of Nazis. So it's got to be like the 30s. Like I like the idea. I like the idea of like it going through the stages, like Garbo said. Like it could start out with Indy writing his memoir,
Mm-hmm.
and then every time that he starts to write a new story, you flash back and you play through it.
Yeah, you're playing through it. Yeah,
That'd be fun.
that'd be cool. It's very original. Then you can see him age throughout the year, and still have like new Indy, and then have old, like older Indy or younger Indy, and then go into older Indy.
Right.
And still be Harrison Ford. You know what I mean?
What do you think, Dirt?
Well, like I said a minute ago, I'd like to see that.
Yeah.
Where you hop around.
Yeah,
Here-
back and forth. Yeah.
Here's the question that I have. I played the Ghostbusters game recently. The Ghostbusters game, you come in as a new recruit, and they brought all the actors back in to reprise their voices in the game, and everything is the perspective of you learning how the proton pack works, learning how all this stuff works as the new recruit. Do you think that they might take the approach of bringing the player in, and you're not playing Indiana Jones, you're playing Indiana Jones, insert
sidekick.
Yeah, insert sidekick here to kind of see it from that perspective.
It's the story of what tells you what happened to Short Round, and you're playing Short Round.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Turns out Short Round becomes tall and skinny.
Yeah. Well, it's like each movie.
Go ahead.
Well, each movie he has the sidekick. You got Sulla, you got the dad, you got Short Round, you got the son. You know what I'm saying?
There's always someone with him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think it's too far out of the realm of possibility that they would be like, well, let's leave Harrison Ford alone. Like, if Dial of Destiny was it and they're not going to do anymore, then they may not want to like trample on whatever's left of that by having you play someone else that's associated with it. Before we dip out, Xbox exclusive. What do you guys think about this?
Boo.
I mean, they're making moves. They bought it all right.
Yep.
Game Pass.
Boo.
I mean,
it'll for sure be on the Game Pass, right?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah. So I'm going to assume that like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and things like that will come out to all platforms. But like all these other moves, like Starfield and Indiana Jones and all this other stuff that Bethesda's kind of doing, it seems like Microsoft is wanting to capitalize on that. And then it seems like they may be pumping more funds and things into Bethesda so that they can create more Xbox exclusives. That's kind of how it feels, right?
Yeah.
And Game Pass content.
Yeah.
Well, give us a fucking Indiana Jones in Egypt, but Fallout style. Open world Egypt. Get to travel around, do missions.
That would be kind of
Bethesda.
interesting. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting.
And it could be set in the late 20s, early 30s.
Mm-hmm.
Him being young, and it could be his first few adventures. There's so much you could do narratively. What's really going to matter is how they're going to even this gameplay out and make it feel Indiana Jonesy, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's wild that it
I
is.
got a bad feeling about this.
Well, it's wild that it's only going to be an Xbox exclusive, but I mean, this is more Microsoft power play at the end of the day.
I mean, they were smart with who they bought up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Bethesda's arguably the biggest RPG producer. Like when they drop one of their games, everyone flocks to it.
Yeah.
People who don't typically play RPGs flock to it.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we see more things, if we see more properties that Bethesda or someone under the umbrella of Bethesda is working on, then that's absolutely what Microsoft's doing. They're just pumping and dumping straight onto the Game Pass. And you can't blame them. I mean, they spent how much money to acquire Bethesda? So
Billions, right?
it was a lot. I don't know. It might have been $1 billion. I don't know. But like, still though, they're going to get their money worth one way or another.
I mean, just getting the Elder Scrolls and Fallout is worth $1 billion alone.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's hard to fuck that up.
Yeah, right. So
7.5 billion.
that's how much they paid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Got to put it on the
Pretty
Game
penny,
Pass.
dog.
It's got to be an exclusive.
Yeah,
Got to make some money back.
yeah, they got.
But
to.
we should have some footage of that next episode.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
what was
in
it?
a couple of days when they're going 18th.
Yeah, January the 18th was the Xbox showcase. So I'm interested.
Along with the
to
rest of their shit. So
Yeah. So who knows? Xbox could announce some big things. I mean, the Activision Blizzard deal is done. Kotick is out. Like we've went through the whole saga pretty much. Xbox could show up and show out and show some wild things. So we'll see. We'll cover it here. Be sure to check back on the next episode of Foreplay if you want to see us covering the Xbox January showcase. Booyah.